What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Kid and Dre. I got a very, very special guest with me today. Cal alumni, All-American soccer player, former Morgan Stanley financial advisor to Kevin Johnson, Hakeem Olajuwon, and several other legends. Original founder of Flat Power and founder of Footy Mart, Bejan Esmaili. What's up, B? How you doing?
Well said. Thank you. Very good. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
Welcome.
So, how's your day going, man? You good? Everything cool?
It's better now because I get a chance to hang out with my young men here and catch up. It's been a minute.
It has.
Talking about you too.
You young too, Dre. Exactly. So, B, tell us a little bit, man, about where you grew up. Like I said, All-American soccer player, where you went to school. Take us a little bit through your background.
I grew up in San Jose. My father came from Iran, and my mom was Irish, so it was a crazy mix. I can't even begin to tell you that mix. My dad was a Muslim, mom Irish Catholic, and so that was an interesting childhood. And I went to West Valley College in San Jose for 2.5 years, and then I transferred to UC Berkeley, and then I finished my degree there in economics.
Hey, Bejan, what made you, because you were an All-American soccer player, what made you choose UC Berkeley?
I was an All-American my freshman year, so my sophomore year, I was lucky enough to have interest from schools locally like Santa Clara, San Jose State, and of course Cal. And then I had some from, Air Force Academy, Sonoma State, and San Diego State. But I honestly thought I was going to go to San Jose State or Santa Clara, where my family would be able to come see the matches. It was close to the house, and they were both great schools. But I got into Cal, which I wasn't sure I would be able to get into Cal. And they had a top, at that time, I think top 10 or 15 in the country program for soccer as well. So it was kind of a win across the board. And I thought I was going to study engineering, and Cal still to this day has an incredible engineering department. I just not smart enough to go that route, unfortunately.
You're smart enough to get the scholarship there and go there. That says a lot, right?
Okay, Cal's a great school. Great institution.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel blessed for sure.
So during that time, though, were you? I mean, I know now, like soccer is huge, right, all throughout the world. But like, were you interested in that time about going pro? Like, were you trying to go pro, or was it kind of just something to get college paid for?
I always wanted to play professionally. Always, the whole goal was to play professionally. Soccer was, and still is, really love of my life. Besides family and friends, so. Unfortunately, at that time, they didn't have a professional soccer league. It didn't exist. They had a league prior to me going to college called the North American Soccer League, where Pelé played and a lot of celebrities played from the old days. And then many years after, they had Major League Soccer, the MLS, and that's had obviously a lot of success. But it didn't exist, either of them, when I finished school. So unfortunately, I didn't have a path to play. There was no internet, so you couldn't really go online and go, oh, there's a team in Sweden, and there's, here's the coach's name, and here's the phone number. You just call them. It didn't really work that way. So you kind of stuck on an island. So unfortunately, I had to go and get a real job, which was kind of a bummer, but it was good. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to play.
I mean, the job you got it was great. Is that when you majored in economics and you went into the financial world and worked at Morgan Stanley? Was that the first job, or was it something?
It wasn't my first job. I had probably 30 jobs before I got there, but that was my first real job. Yeah, it was a job that I wanted. When I finished school, I worked odd and end jobs before I got the job at Morgan Stanley. I tried to get the job at Morgan Stanley right away out of college, and unfortunately, it was difficult because they weren't hiring necessarily, and I'd go back every month and bug them, and I think they finally just they got sick of me, and after about a year, they finally said, okay, let's hire this guy and give him a shot. So it took a while, but I also worked at some investment firms while I was at Cal to get experience. I thought that would give me an easier accessibility to get a job a little quicker than I did. But honestly, things happen for a reason, and I'm happy that eventually they took a chance on me.
Did you feel like, jumping a little ahead? Now you're at your career with Dean Witter, and you're representing Kevin Johnson, Hakeem Olajuwon. Tell us how getting and representing those players. Obviously, they're different than other clients because they're celebrities. But how did you handle the balance of, you have these athletes, and then did it take you away from trying to get just, I don't want to call them regular clients, but non-celebrity clients? Like, was that something that like the higher ups of Dean Witter were like, okay, Bejan's really good now, or did that matter? Or did that have some sort of effect?
That's a great question. It was a balance between trying to build your book, your clients, and then also work on building relationships and your book with also athletes. Athletes are obviously super unique because, one, a lot of them earn enough money that they, in some capacity, replicate a corporation. They make hundreds of millions of dollars, yet they don't have the same support system as a company. Company has a chief technical officer, a chief financial officer. We've got a person that runs the marketing side. They have a person that runs and supports the different capacities that a corporation needs. And so if you earn $100 million, you have a checks and balance system for athletes. Unfortunately, a lot of them either come out early. They don't necessarily have a 4-year degree. They don't have a master's degree in business. Some of them don't have an understanding of the financial markets. They don't understand the real estate market. They don't understand what an agent gets paid and how that functions. So it's very difficult for them to trust people because there are a lot of people coming to them and at them, and they are coming into a lot of money, and they don't really have a lot of information, access to information, and an understanding of the process of how things work. So to their credit, sometimes if they say no, or if they try to first get trust in somebody, it not only takes time, but the more information that they have access to and they learn, then the more that they become the CEO of themselves. And then it makes it a lot easier for them to make decisions on what's best for them in any capacity, from an agent to a lawyer to an accountant to a financial advisor. And each one should be separate. One should be there, one should be there, one should be there, because if you have them all under one umbrella, then it's too easy for an athlete to get swindled because there isn't a check and balance system. But having a lawyer here, having an accountant there, having a financial advisor here, everybody has to be accountable for each other, if that makes sense.
100%. Actually, I have a question for you, Bejan.
Sure.
We talk about a lot of the people that you worked with that Andre mentioned, a lot of legends in the sports world, and I wanted to know if there was a specific time or instance where an interaction you had with someone you've worked with is what stuck with you throughout your life.
I think just because the players are all underneath an umbrella as an athlete or as a financial wealthy individual, they're so different in so many capacities. Hakeem Olajuwon is a devout Muslim. He's a real estate developer, purchaser, and first generation in his family to come to this country, and had a lot of success as an athlete, but also off the court, the success stories that he's had has taught me about what is achievable if you really, really work hard, set your mind to it, teach yourself, and make no excuses. Then you have someone like maybe Kevin Johnson. Kevin was, a church-going guy. He wasn't a Muslim. He was a Christian. He was very devout, but also from his perspective, he ran for mayor. He became a mayor. He gave back to the Sacramento community, and he tried to help the underserved areas in Sacramento by building different types of companies, from having a Starbucks to a barbershop. So all of these different individuals provide kind of different types of guidance in their journeys that you can learn from, that provide not just respect based on what they've done, but also a sounding board and a sponge for learning from somebody that is in a way your age, but having a lot of successes and sometimes some failures, but you learn from going through those with them. And it teaches me specifically about how they hold themselves accountable, how they are successful as not only athletes, but also more importantly as humans, family members, and business people.
Bejan, you just
That's awesome.
you just spoke on failure. Has there ever been a time that an athlete or a person you represented, or you were hired to represent, or that you just saw something that maybe was a big red flag, or you got to be the barrier of bad news to tell someone like, hey, this is what's going on. Someone's not really paying attention, and you tell them, hey, you're looking at their stuff, and you know what? I hate to tell you, but this is what's actually going on.
I mean, I think the definition of failure is convoluted. I think the each person, including myself, has had many failures. I think the key is where in the journey they learn for themselves on that particular type of failure and how they react to it, and hopefully better themselves through it. I've talked to you about Penny Hardaway before. Penny had someone who represented him, and he lost a lot of money. I was in Phoenix in the conference room in Scottsdale with an accountant who was going through all of his detailed, bank statements with him. He was not familiar with a lot of the money that was being taken from there. He cried, I remember, and I'm only saying this publicly because this happens to more than just him. And he's,
when you say he cried, like he.
Yeah,
You think
tears
about
came
hurt?
down. Tears came down. He's a very passionate guy. He's a very loving, super loving, wonderful human. And when you see something like this happen to a person like that, it not only breaks your heart, it makes you mad. And again, he's one of many that have gone through these circumstances. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf is another one that I worked with, and I went through the whole thing with him where, the KKK burned his house down. He took money that he earned and he built over a year and a half of construction, and that's not a failure on his part, but my point is, going through that situation made him a better human for not just himself but his family, the people around him, and at a young age how he lived his life for future generations as well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. So with that and working with all those players, I know you said you've seen that a lot. How do you, I guess, have them combat that? Like, how do they combat that, I guess, just from the separation of, different lawyers and accountants and things like that? Or what's, because I feel like it still happens to this day, right?
It does. There are some players that are hands-on and really want to learn about what they can do to make sure they're in a success position for their future. And there's some that focus on playing. They've come from a background that we have no idea about and can't even put ourselves in their shoes. And sometimes it takes that group or player maybe 5 years to understand the processes after they paid taxes and lost half of what they earned, paid a commission to the agent on the gross of what they earned, and then also maybe spent money on depreciating assets like cars and things like that that they leased potentially as well, that they still owe money on that they never use. So there's kind of a process and the pathway that they go through. Some of them know early on. Jaylen Brown, who we know, is someone who was hands-on, educated, knew ahead of time what the master plan was. He's come out with his own shoe line. He used an agent who's an attorney to help him with his contract negotiations and paid him per hour, not a percentage. And there's a lot of people out there that you're earning the max and you're still paying an agent the maximum commission, even though you've signed for the maximum amount of money, which is completely non-negotiable. You already know it's the maximum. So everybody's different. I can't say that if you go to some of these places that some of these kids are from, it's a difficult freaking life that they somehow survived, and now they're playing in the NBA, and it takes time for them hopefully to figure out how the processes work so that they can save themselves and their future of their families and have a successful life too.
Yeah, I want to ask you, as someone who's had their fair share of experience in the sports business world, to you, what sticks out to you the most right now in the landscape, in the grand scheme of things, like with everything that's going on in the sports business side of things?
I think, I know it sounds trivial, but I think the internet, I think access to information. I think people that didn't know much about certain business opportunities or options now can teach themselves, can ask questions, can self-educate themselves to learn. If I'm buying a property, what is the point? What are the interest rates now for a home for a 30-year versus a 15-year? How does that work? Like when I grew up, we didn't have the internet. So I know there was a time that people don't realize there was no internet, but you couldn't really figure those things out if you wanted to. Or about, AI. Like, should I invest in AI? What are the companies that are successful in AI? Are there cloud investors? Are there chip investments? Are there, so today's world, I think, for people that want to have access to opportunities, sports, business, etc., there's definitely more access to information to teach themselves and ask questions and self-educate where they can help themselves more so now than probably before.
That's an interesting point, and not just as you were speaking about that, it made me think like a lot of people that get their money stolen or get taken advantage of are usually people that the sell to them is, we're going to take care of everything for you, right? We're going to take care of your cars, we're going to take care of all your bills, we're going to do all these things for you. So as you spoke earlier about, the lawyer is here and the accountant's here and the lawyers, you got different people doing different jobs. And some companies I've seen and know of that represent a lot of athletes and entertainers do it. Their pitch is, we do all of it for you. You don't have to do nothing but play basketball, whatever sport, what you're doing. And it kind of amazes me sometimes because that sale to that person is very easy. But then some of these people are street educated as well. And they can pick out a hustler right away, like, oh, that dude's trying to hustle me, right? And it amazes me sometimes, like, you can pick that person out, but you can't pick out this person hustling you, and it might be because they have on a suit or what have you. So that kind of amazes me because you're able to tell right off the bat, like, oh, this guy's full of shit. But then when this person, it takes you, like some people 5, 6, 10, 15 years ago, oh, that guy was stealing from me. I never knew it. You know what I mean? So have you ever had, like, I know you come across a lot of agents, such as I have, or TJ have, have you seen people, a lot of people like just last in the game for so long? Like, man, that guy's been a crook for 10 plus years. Or that guy's been, everybody should know about that guy or that company.
Yeah, it's we've seen guys that have been doing it back, like you said, 15, 20 years ago, still around doing it. I think if there's a kid coming from, going in the draft, he's probably a kid. And at the end of the day, he may not know that this person who's been doing something for 15 or 20 years is a hustler and maybe someone that they may not want to trust. They're trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, and they're going through the reps and trying to prepare themselves for the basketball like combines that each team has. So they're focused on different things and kind of in a way allowing for someone to come in and sort of take over their likeness. And again, not everybody. I think that there's families that support kids. They're a little more educated and can guide and help and provide information and come up and interview different groups, different agencies, different attorneys across the board. And then there's some that the way they were in their situation raised and they don't have that. They don't have that support system. So they don't know any better. And unfortunately, they get caught up on maybe the agents making claims that don't exist, making claims that are fictitious. And the kid is just a kid. And he thinks, okay, that's fantastic. You got the best shoe contract in the world? Really? You got that much more than what they were going to offer? Wow, that sounds incredible. Yeah, I want to work with you. And not really knowing. Again, sometimes the learning curve is 5 years, 7 years, 3 years. If I have somebody in the locker room and Dre, you, TJ, whatever, you guys say, hey, B, you don't need to have that. You could use this, or you could try to think about that. You could provide at least information in a small kind of little trusted circle that could help me. But right off the bat, most of the time that doesn't happen. So kids, they get lost. They fall through these guys that are like they're car salesmen at the end of the day.
For example, like let's say I'll represent you. You're the number 1 pick, and Josh is the 55th pick, and I get you a $10 million a year deal. I've seen aspects where people are like, "Oh, Andre's a hell of an agent. He got Bejan, the number 1 pick, X amount of dollars." Well, a lot of times those companies are calling me. I don't have to call them, correct? And then, so in fact, like I'm a hell of an agent if I go to Josh to 55th pick, a good deal. And that's kind of like where I don't understand. I've seen a lot of that. And it's like the player, they lose confidence in themselves. Like you get out on that court, you're a dog. I'm the number 1 pick. And then you don't understand why, or these people come to you and now they make you feel like you work for them as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, oh man.
Yeah, if you're going to hire somebody to work for you, they work for you.
Right.
And so if a shoe company or Power Bar or Toyota or any other company says, hey, listen, I'm interested. Unfortunately, if you list the agent or the person and that quote unquote works for you as the person of contact, they're going to go to them first. And sometimes the agent may say, hey, you know what? I also work with TJ. If you give TJ this much, then I'll take your deal with my guy Andre over here. And then it becomes a conflict of interest. So that kind of stuff happens every day. Again, it goes back to the player being accountable for themselves. If they put themselves as the record of contact, or they use, in my opinion, a law firm, like a legal entity that has no conflict of interest, that's going to provide you information, and you pay them per hour to get information that is objective, non-biased, and has no bearing on if you go left or if you go right. All they do is provide you the information and help you with the structure of the contract. Then those people you can trust to have as your representative in terms of communication. Then once they say, hey, Andre, I got a call from Toyota. You want me to talk to you? You want to sit down and discuss it? This is what they're thinking, blah, blah, blah. They have no interest because there's no incentive for them. They're not getting 20% commission if they push you left or push you right. If you go with Coke or you go Pepsi, one's giving you more money short term, one's giving you more stock options. I'm going to push you this way because I get paid more. They don't get that. They just get paid per hour to do the work. If you have a representation of a lawyer, not an agent, and a firm, then that would be my recommendation in terms of like keeping it objective, unbiased, and get professional at the highest level help to provide guidance.
For sure. Hey, so getting into you a little bit more though, Bejan, I got a question. So as far as I know, you originally started Flex Power, which was basically the cream that athletes could use to rub on themselves when they get sore or injured to kind of help with the healing process. Like what sparked that idea, or can you take us through that a little bit?
It was yeah, absolutely. It originated with Power Bar, believe it or not. Brian Maxwell, who was my mentor, he started Power Bar, and he had different sort of athletes in Berkeley, where I'm from, provide marketing, branding, and exposure to his company and his products that were geared towards athletes. And he started with going to track and cross-country events, and he would sell them out of his car, the back of his car, like selling music CDs. You know, it's like old school. And then he started to pick it up. Then he built new wrappers, and then, you know, he started to manufacture small quantities, and then he tweaked it and adjusted it, and he kept doing that until he finally made a little business. And then he got a little distribution and started selling in the retail stores. So I went to him and I said, you know, Brian, this is what I'm thinking. I have a lot of incredible relationships with people within this sports community, and we've given them the product. They use the product. You know, we're the official product of USA triathlon and skiing and weightlifting and US soccer. And, you know, and then we've got all these, I send product to guy in Chelsea, Didier Drogba, who uses it, or we sell it to, you know, the New York Knicks at the time, and they buy it and they were using it or whatever. So we had built this grassroots kind of similar mirrored approach that they did, but with a product with pain relief. And I've had 7 knee surgeries, including ACL, and the only thing you could take really was something that you'd have to ingest, you know, Advil or ibuprofen or whatever that goes through your stomach, your liver, your kidneys, as opposed to just something direct to the source, to your knee. So there were a lot of side effects for everybody, not just myself, for taking products internally that way. So I thought if there was a technology that could encapsulate specific ingredients where you could put it to the affected area and it could take it deep and help that specific area, I thought that'd be great. And then the second part would be is if it didn't have a medicine smell, then you could use it pretty much every day and not have to worry about people knowing you were wearing it. So it could be one of those products for everyday people. You know, you go to work, you put it on. You know, if you're an older lady, you know, as an example, you could use it if you have arthritis. So it kind of was universal, not just for the athletes, but across a lot of demographics.
No, that's dope. I remember seeing it, man. I remember seeing the news announcements when I was growing up. I was one of the things that was like so cool to me. So with that venture, right? Is there anything that you could, you know, especially like an entrepreneur like myself, like can you give us like that you learned from it, or anything in the sports world, you know, combining those two, the business and the sports of it, that you kind of learned?
I learned so much stuff nonstop, every day, all the time. There were so many facets. You got to be the guy marketing it. You got to be the wholesale distributor. You got to be the retail seller. You got to be the person who's going to brand it. You got to figure out which athletes that could help promote it in some way to provide the marketing that makes sense. What verbiage they use. Try not to piss off the FTC by making a claim. How do you get to the official, you know, like the weightlifting or soccer and stuff like that? How do you get to that point where they trust you and you have double-blind placebo tests and all that stuff? I had no idea about, zero. And I learned so much, which is part of the excitement and the fun of the whole journey. But I mean, I went with Andre. We were in Hank Aaron's house in Buckhead, Atlanta for 3 or 4 days, spending time with him. One, the most gracious, wonderful family, him and his wife, Billy, who I met because of Andre. And, we got them the product, and all of a sudden, he became part of the family. Hakeem Olajuwon, same thing. Yeah, he was a client or friend or whatever, but, you have to, they're the best critics at the end of the day. So having the demographic of people to say, you know what, I like this. It doesn't smell and it feels good. I can feel the heat. That's great, or whatever. It takes time. It's a process. There's a pathway, and it takes longer than you think. And you have to work. It's 24/7. You get a call from a Denver Broncos player on a Saturday when you're at the cafe with your kids. And it's like, hey, I got this product from this thing. I was wondering, can you send it to me? And you're thinking in your mind, man, that's fantastic. Now we got the Denver market. That's where. What was the big oh my God, sporting goods store was out of there that went under. Anyway, so yeah, so which one?
Was it REI Center?
No, not REI. We got an REI too, but Sports Authority.
Yeah.
Sports Authority. It's the Sports Authority. So anyway, so you and I met with the Sports Authority. I met with Target in Minnesota. I met with Les Walgreen, whose great grandfather started Walgreens. We went through all these channels. And, at first when you're speaking and you're trying to be eloquent and, think you're smart and whatever, sometimes you say, oh, Jesus Christ, what the hell am I doing? And then you learn from it, though. As time goes on, you get better. Hopefully you get better, and you find ways to trust more people that can help you with it, too.
Oh, that's dope.
That's good.
Speaking of trust, I mean, obviously, those people, Hank Aaron, Hakeem, these people are not only believing in you, but putting their name on the line. And I saw the article where you and Jimmy Butler are spearheading to try to purchase a soccer team, a professional soccer team. Can you give us a little information on that, or how's that going, and how that came to?
Sure. Yeah, I think, the beauty today is there's such a crossover between all the sports, soccer, basketball. Everybody has relationships on both sides of the aisle, and it's like friendships. And again, access to information, access to business deals. Jimmy Butler, who I don't even know personally, has been at the PSG matches, who he's got friends with, Mbappe and Pogba and those guys. He just invested also in the women's team in San Diego. He's active with coffee. He's like, he's got cafes. He's one of these guys where, he's got a lot of energy. He's an entrepreneur. He's got that in his blood. And so when this came about, we had a mutual friend, and there was a club in the English Premier League that we were trying to buy 43% of initially and then try to get the rest of the club. But anyway, so he was on board with that. We talked to Giannis as well. He was on board with that. Having these calls with these guys, they came from zero. They came from nothing, like not a penny, zero in their lives. So to see them go full circle and become part of something as an investor, and to say, I'm willing to give $1 or whatever it is out of my pocket to be a part of that, it means a lot, because they never had anything in their life growing up. So to be in this position, out of respect, you have to be so blessed to have not just them be a part of it because of who they are, but more importantly, off the court, these people from where they came from.
100%. 100%. And I wanted to ask you too, like, you seem like I've known you for a long time, and I've always taken you to be someone of conviction, and you always do what you believe in, and it shows in the work that you've done, I think, and it speaks for itself. I wanted to ask you, who's your hero?
Oh boy. Here's my family, for sure. My mom, my dad, for sure. That's got to be numero uno. My kids, obviously, and my wife, that you want them always they're honest with you, They're the people that are going to tell you, hey, Dad, you don't want from your nose, and you're a knucklehead. Yeah. So I don't think it's just one person, but I think at the end of the day, your family collectively, I would say, are my hero. If that makes sense.
No, it does. It does, and it's beautiful.
Thank you, TJ. Appreciate that.
Speaking of beautiful, I want to go off course a little bit. You and I. No, I'm about to ask you about a particular party we went to.
He's a partner.
Huh?
What'd you say, Dre? I didn't hear you.
A particular party you and I went
Oh, God. I wasn't there.
You provided the vehicle. You provided the soccer man. Speaking of soccer, you came to the hotel. We had came in the big white soccer van. I think we went to see the hotel, right? And you parked it at the hotel for like 3 days. We're like, no, we're not gonna drive that. And then this particular day, we needed to go to a party. And can you speak on that? I don't think these two know about it, so I just kind of wanted to.
Okay, I wasn't at the party. I don't know. Maybe I was. I don't remember.
It was your clone.
Yeah, there was a guy that looked a lot like me.
It was AI.
Yeah, exactly. I got I've always been savvy about money. So when Hertz was giving a deal to rent a van instead of like a car for like really good deal for 3 days or something like that, I said, like $25 a day. I'm gonna get the van. Now, I must have wore a disguise because I don't think I want anybody to see me driving in the van. But I did save probably $100. And when we decided to go to the Playboy Mansion for this party, and we took the van because it was another level of style of humility that we went there with. We got our wristbands put on, and we went into the grotto, and we hung out, and I was shocked. It was like a park. It was so big, It was incredible. And then we lost you, I think, for about an hour. And I think you were with a mermaid or something. And we finally found you, and dried you off. And then Jason, of course, he was in the bushes somewhere. So finally, we said, okay, we better get the heck out of here. And then all of a sudden, some of them followed us into the car, and the car was like a sardine.
Hey, he put some more soccer players in the soccer bed. Yeah,
that's it. And then the next, we went back to the Mondrian. I think we stayed at the Mondrian, and we got out, and then that's all I remember.
But here's the funny thing: I always think about. And I laugh about that is because. The Mondrian, the people familiar with the Mondrian song. Is that Hollywood Boulevard right there that you're right on?
Yeah.
Ferrari, Porsche, Lamborghini, big white van. Right.
Oh, yeah.
In the valet.
There was a parking spot that said van. We just parked it right there. But then the crazy part, I think the next day, we started to take a walk just to freshen up, get some fresh air. And we're walking. We go about 100 yards, and there's a cigar spot that's as big as a bathroom. And all of a sudden, we're walking by, and Mike Tyson jumps out and goes, Andre! And I swear, I almost jumped out of my shoes. Like, what in the hell movie am I in? This is crazy. Is Mike fucking Tyson? No way. And he's like grabbing you and headlocking you and like kissing you, and I'm going, This is like the Twilight Zone. We walk down the street 30 yards, and all of a sudden this guy jumps out, scares the hell out of us. It's Mike Tyson.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I was like, wow. I just remember his hand when you shake it was like a baseball glove.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think we walked about 3 miles that day because it was like
that was a shock. I was like. This is a Twilight Zone.
Yeah, that was like, we used to have a lot of fun back then. But that was one of the few times. But that van, I mean, we had no shame. We from Oakland. We just pulled up, hit the buzzer, let us in, the white van,
Nobody said nothing to you guys. Like, what is this?
No, I think
they got in.
we told them that Jason and I were with Urkel, and they said no problem.
Oh, come right in. That is awesome. That is awesome. Hey, so I got a quick question, man, and this is, I guess these are just kind of like off the cuff things.
Sure.
Can you tell me one of the most meaningful interactions you've had with any pro athlete or celebrity?
Whew. Oh man, I honestly, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'd say for the most part, it would be when the athletes have really like something life changing, like TJ getting baptized, being there, or going with an athlete, yeah, and then maybe somebody passes away, being part of their life when there's something that's a life changing moment. You know, watching your friend being on Jimmy Kimmel or something, you go, oh, that's funny and that's cool. Or if you're backstage hanging out or whatever it is, but that's all just trivial. But when you're with these guys and there's something that's humanistic in their life that is bigger and more important than the sport, money, and definitely the celebrity crap, it's the humanistic again element. I think that it makes you feel closer and more human.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
No.
Speaking on that, the guy I met through you, Bejan, Adam. I heard of the Counting Crows, but to meet him, he was a very nice guy. Like, he welcomed us to his home, opened up his home to us in New York. He let us sing on his album, record, the credits.
Andre, I forgot about that. Oh my God, we're still on one of his albums, like one of the big albums that he's ever sold. Yeah. You and I, and we stopped.
I told these two. I said, hey, I got.
We didn't believe it.
Yeah, we're listed on his actual. Like, it was a CD those days. It was a CD before it was digital. But we went in Beverly Hills. We went to. They were recording in a like a Beverly Hills. He had a house there, but he had a place they were recording in. Yeah. I think Andre was like a racquetball court that they had it all set up, padded and stuff or whatever. And they were like, "Hey, you two, come on, get in here." Remember, Adam was like, "Come on, Andre, yeah, okay, come on, let's go. Let's you guys be clapping and be a part of this." And I remember thinking, "Oh shit, oh God, oh my God, what the hell have we got into?" But he thanked us and he put us on his sleeve and he said, "Andre and Bejan, like you two knuckleheads, thank you for your help." So I guess we got hope in the music industry.
So you on the credits on the Counting Crows album, both of you guys.
Yeah, yes we are. Yeah.
So we have to refer to you guys as Grammy Award-winning artists now.
Exactly.
Thank you. Hello. And he almost won an Oscar for his Shrek song too. So
wow.
Yeah.
We almost.
We correct.
Oh man.
Yes.
Hey, so a couple things before we wrap up. Sorry. One thing, I don't want to take anything away from the other business that you started that maybe you could give us a little bit about, and that's Footy Mart, which I think is really dope. Just to be able to exchange things between people who may not be able to afford brand new stuff. But can you walk us through that just a little bit?
Yeah. Footy Market is an online platform. It's a peer-to-peer. So Josh could sell to TJ, and it's a vertical, specifically this one for soccer. And the idea is if especially with soccer these days becoming so much more expensive for pay-to-play, most families, they can't afford registration fees. I know it sounds simple, but they're worried about eating. So registration fees is one, equipment and gear is another. Sometimes travel costs, or if you're having a tournament and you want to play and your mom says, I can't afford it, you can't do it. You got new uniform costs. Every 2 years is a cycle. So clubs say, hey, you got to buy a uniform if you want to play. That's another added cost. And God forbid if you don't get a sweatsuit and backpack with that too, you look like the only player on the team that doesn't have that. So there's a lot of pressures for families to participate, especially when it's not, cost effective for most families. So we thought if we created a vertical online where families that had gear that they weren't using or equipment that they weren't using, they could sell it, earn money, especially if it's sitting in the garage or sitting on the porch, or it's still, in good shape for other people. And then somebody on the other side as well, making an affordable option so that they have access to something that's maybe it's not retail, but it's something that's pre-owned, but it's still, again, in good condition. It just provides accessibility, excuse me, and inclusion, and especially for the underserved communities that need it the most. Having a way to find it and knowing that there's one place I can go to for soccer related stuff and get it in a good deal, or maybe earn some money. So I think there's a lot of sports that will eventually also incorporate this kind of idea. If you had something, let's say soccer shoes that you paid $100 for, and now you want to sell them for 20, you could maybe earn $20 and somebody gets a really good deal. If you go and take them to the Goodwill and somebody else has to try to find them at the Goodwill, you may not find that person at the Goodwill that wants size 8 for a pair of soccer shoes that, is just readily available. So there's also, last thing I'll say, there's been a lot of really good success stories with peer-to-peer kind of verticals. Depop has been one, Poshmark's been one, Etsy's been one, StockX has been one, Goat has been one. I mean, you can go through such a long line of different types of Real. There was one in Oakland too, ThreadUp, and I think it's important that people understand now that there's accessibility. Doesn't mean that you're buying I'm buying secondhand. Like when you're young, it'd be embarrassing, but now I think it's preferred. People looking at sustainability, trying to find ways to help the environment. So I think hopefully it's going to be a win for the community that needs it the most.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's super dope, and I know the people that utilize it appreciate it for sure.
I hope so. I mean, this will be something hopefully that continues long after I'm gone, where there's people that run this, and again, maybe other sports as well, just to provide accessibility.
Definitely. Go ahead, CJ.
Oh no, I was gonna say no. It's really cool that you're doing that too, because I think it's important for kids who are in these underserved communities to be able to have these experiences, because you never know who those kids are going to turn out to be either. Because these kids are going to be the ones who turn into the Giannis's and the Jimmy Butlers and the Steph Currys and all those guys who are having this success just because of someone thinking about them and being able to provide these resources for them. And it's awesome. It's really awesome.
TJ, most of the kids, especially that have that passion and have the energy to play in all sports, not just soccer. I see it. I've been coaching for 30 years or whatever, but the ones that really, really are the kids that develop and are by themselves with the ball against the wall and playing and what have you, are usually the ones that have nothing. They don't have money. They don't have shoes. They don't have any of that stuff. So I think, to your point, it allows at least hopefully them the opportunity, so that they can be seen eventually, or they can showcase or whatever it is, and earn their experience with a team sport or maybe even an individual sport that they need that equipment and gear to be able to have successes. So I'm with you, and it's not fair if a kid or a family doesn't get access and that kid isn't the Giannis anymore because he didn't get the opportunity. On the ladies' side too.
Yeah.
100%. And then I got one last question for you. If you had any suggestion on one thing, say someone has $1,000 to invest in to kind of work their way up, what would it be?
Well, I'll give you two answers. The first answer is easy. I'd say invest in yourself. I think what you guys are doing, you're building something, the entrepreneurial spirit, close friends, putting together a unique, incredible platform. That to me would be numero uno. Invest in yourself. Build the sucker. I think what you guys are doing is awesome. I think, in a little time, as you start to put this together, you're going to have so many people helping you, bringing you people. You'll be the hottest ticket. It'll be so rewarding. And just like me, when I told you about Flex Power, you'll learn so much. You'll probably change things around a little bit. And I'm telling you, it feels good when you do it yourself and you go through the process. So the first 1,000, go back to yourself, period. Second 1,000, if you're putting it into some kind of investment outside of yourself, AI obviously is probably the biggest and most expensive opportunity for the next 5 years at least. It's like you buying Google, 15, 20 years ago. It's the beginning of a revolution. So I'd say be selective. There's definitely going to be some volatility. There's definitely going to be some, speed bumps. But again, you guys are young. You got your whole future ahead of you. Put it away, forget about it, and say, hey, my kids get a little older. That'll be their college education.
So you think I should put my OnlyFans on hold then?
No, that's investing in yourself, Andre.
It's OnlyFan. OnlyFan. The one. There you go.
No, for real. We appreciate you, B. We appreciate you for taking the time out. Very busy man. Very, honorable man. You always been uncle to me, came through, ate spaghetti, all that. So we appreciate you for taking this time out with us.
I mean, I know the public doesn't know about how well you could eat spaghetti, but
yet
I know Andre didn't feed you for at least 3 or 4 days. So
I mean,
when I made that spaghetti, I think you're just like, I'm Italian now. Let's eat. Let's
exactly.
Go. Yeah.
I
Exactly.
apologize to Beach. I was like, B, I'm sorry. Remember, I was like, I'm sorry.
But honestly, you guys, I'm super proud of you. I'm really super proud of you. Like I said, this will build and lead into a lot of other things, and it's yours. It's yours. You create it. You're the vision. It's yours, and at the end of the day, it'll be a lot of fun and super rewarding.
Oh, for sure. Appreciate that, man.
no.
Dre, TJ, y'all got anything for him?
Oh no, just want to say thank you for coming on, and we appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And we look forward to having you back on again.
I look forward to it too.
Hey, return guest.
Return the white van and let's go where we went.
I think we should do the next segment in the white van.
Oh, that might be Dre's OnlyFans.
Save that for a different episode, huh?
Yeah, well said.
All right.
Love you, man. Thank you.
Love you too, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Thank you. Appreciate it.